All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the January 2024 Bytown Economic Development Committee. I will go ahead and call the meeting to order at 8:01. Does anyone have any public comments? I see none. All right, any additions or changes to the agenda today? None. All right. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the November 2nd meeting? Bethany makes a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
What are you gonna say?
I wasn't there.
Oh, yes. So Heidi and I are abstaining because we were not there.
Okay. That's good. All right, Housing Committee update. So we didn't have a meeting in December. Unfortunately, our Wednesday afternoon slot seems to have increasing issues with people being able to be available for that time. We did send a poll out for new meeting days and times, and it looks like that is tricky as well. I think we really want that committee to stay relevant, and we don't want the conversation to be stagnant. So we're really just trying to figure out the time that best works for everybody to get there and be a part of that conversation. I think Gretchen and I will continue to work at that and see what we can do to come up with a solution that works best for the most amount of members to be, available for that meeting and participating. Other than that, Gretchen and I have had a number of meetings with some prospective investors and contractors who are looking to work on a project down in Wilmington. But so far, we're just trying to figure out where the money can come from for that and how to make that all work. So I think for now, our biggest goal right now in that housing committee is to really focus on the landlord support group and getting that up and off the ground with the support of some of our more active local landlords. So that's our goal for the moment, and we will just obviously continue to keep our eyes out for opportunities for funding or opportunities for expanded housing here in the valley. So I think that's all I have for housing. Gretchen, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I just wanted to recognize that, that property that, we're talking about with this, with these private developers, has a lot of challenges. And it would need a lot of money. And what we really need to do is, they need like a plan of some sort, like getting an engineer in there and figuring out, what's the estimated cost of getting the property to be developed into housing. So it's a ways off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's definitely a chicken and egg, right? There needs to be some money to get some engineering done, to get a tentative drawing done. But you can't really get that money until you have that drawing and that engineering done to make sure that it'll work. So, like I said, we'll continue to provide any support we can to them because obviously we need the housing. But I agree with Gretchen, it's definitely a ways off. Okay.
VHFA also, put out their private developer funding applications in December. And, like, who knows if that money is going to be available, when this particular project comes around. But is there other projects that we need to be exploring in the Deerfield Valley that could leverage this money that's kind of like ready to go? And again, when this money's gone, it's gone, like, who knows if the legislature will actually approve more funding to private developers. And we've been waiting for this money a long time, and now it's here. And so if anybody knows of anybody who's interested in creating some housing, please send them mine, for Wilmington, and Eric's direction, for Dover. So that we can assist them in leveraging those funds.
Okay. Any questions on housing? Okay, perfect. Marketing.
Okay, so we're focusing on really three pieces right now. And that is, we put a request for proposal out for new creative for this year, with potentially a new tagline. And this would be for ad buy as well. So that went out yesterday, or the 2nd it went out. So if you know of any marketing people that would like to see this RFP, then please send them Eric's or my way, and we can get it to them. We do have it on the state website. We have it on both of the town websites. Bethany has it, and she's putting it into the newsletter as well. So I'm hoping that we get lots, at least 5 would be really nice to get, 5 proposals. And those are due February 9th, I think, if I remember right off the top of my head. We were successful in getting the GROW grant, and this, we weren't fully funded, but we will be running some advertising, and this is all money that has to go for getting people to come here and move and live and work. So we're working on how we're going to use those funds. And then the last piece that we're working on right now is, again, signage. And I think you all saw the signage information at the last Bytown meeting in November. And we plan on, really honing down and presenting directly to the select boards individually in the next month, to hopefully have them buy into this signage piece on the town level. So we'll be doing those presentations in February, sorry. Any questions for marketing, Bytown marketing? Okay.
Group this morning. Okay. Moving right along, Gretchen and I received notification of 1% payments shortly after our meeting in November. So I will go ahead and share. I will start. So we received a payment of $133,726.80 on 11/22. As you can see, that's up considerably over that same period in 2022. But also, you see that last quarter was down a little bit, based on the very large payment we had received in August of 22. So we're definitely still up, and we're very happy with the way that that's going. It shows that we had a good summer here in Dover, and I'm guessing throughout the valley. So we're excited. Any questions for me on the Dover payment? I don't see any. None at all. Okay. I will stop sharing. Gretchen, did you want to give us an update on Wilmington?
Sure. So I'm sorry that I did not put something in writing. But I will definitely report in here. So comparatively to last year's same time, and this was like in August through November, we were up, we had like a 12% increase, from last year on the meals and rooms tax. And a 43% increase, which is considerable, on sales and use for the same time period, from the previous year. So we received, a total check of $156,376.77. So, I mean, rooms and meals, I think that there's, like if you're talking about comparatively, there's been obviously an increase in food cost, as well as, for rooms as well, like the cost of, employees and the cost of, cleaning and all of those expenses, 12% is it, it's not, I mean, it's up, but it's probably not up considerably.
Okay. Thank you, Gretchen.
And I mean, I think the sales and use tax is definitely, from building, and those kind of things. So I can't really say that it's retail shops in the center of Wilmington. I mean, I think that they did have a really good, fall. And they were all very, very pleased, with, the tourism. So 43% is pretty significant. So.
Yeah, anecdotally, I mean, businesses seem incredibly happy with the way that that period of time went. I think, I think increased efforts through marketing with the site and the chamber, to really promote that, peak foliage tracker and things like that, kind of keep people excited about being here in the valley and exploring during that time in the fall where it's really pretty. So, hopefully we see that continue to trend up for that period.
So I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong number of our check amount. I'm so sorry. The total check amount is $205,227.27, which is a much better number than 156. My apologies.
All right. Any questions on any of that? Okay. Any other business to discuss? Just as a note, I think I will be touching base with Gretchen to circle back on our friends at Walgreen, and if there are any scenarios there that we can utilize to kind of help with that problem. Just still hearing lots of stories about issues there, and I know we kind of hit a roadblock, but it's been a little bit, so I think Gretchen and I will touch base on it and see if there's any solution to the problem at this point. Okay. All right, any other business? No? Okay. All right, let's go into updates. Wilmington. Tom, you want to start?
That was quick, wasn't it, huh?
Yeah.
We've already through the whole thing.
Yeah.
We're still working on budgets, trying to put it together. Obviously, we have a rise in our budget here so far. That's why we're very eagerly awaiting to see what the tax department's going to do with the school tax. We have not heard here as yet. We have to put some things together for spending our ARPA funds with, of course, I believe Gretchen can tell you all about that. That's expanding our sewer anyway. We haven't been able to solve the water problem yet. And working on things like the Raponda Dam, Lake Raponda Dam, which I never knew we owned, but we own it. All right. So we're working on that also. All kinds of little things that pop up every once in a while between the cannabis committees, and which Dover doesn't have to deal with, which thank your lucky stars you don't, and reappraisal. And I know that Dover's looking at reappraisal also, but we are already looking at a statistical reappraisal that most likely is going to be done by 2025, even though we just finished one, a very expensive one. Our CLA is way off, and we got to go back at it again. But it's going to be done a little bit differently this time. Anyway, that's where we're at. Fun and games.
Gretchen?
Yeah, so again, more project based that I've been working on, trying to get the state to sign off on easements for our East Main Street sidewalk project that I was hoping to get out to bid in January. That's not looking good. The state is very, very slow in approving easements that, you know, people have changed their mind and they want reimbursement. So I have to send those easements back to the state. And their review process, I sent it in November and I still don't have, and it's 2 and I don't have them back yet. So, and we can't proceed until we have all of our easements in place. And then again, they do another review. So who knows how long that will take. So this East Main Street sidewalk project, it goes from like the Beaver Street on the north side down to the bridge at Mobile. And there's a couple of crosswalks in that complex project. There's some crosswalks as well with and there's a sewer project that we that's kind of like connected underneath buildings, underneath houses, up until the funeral home. And so that's a complex piece of this project as well. And then of course, sewer and water, we just got a new updated budget with an increase in 1 year of $1 million. So, yeah, cancels out the $1 million grant I got. So, so there's a lot of challenges there as well. So we will see what we can do on that. But yeah, I think that's my update for Wilmington.
Any questions for Tom or Gretchen? All right. We'll move to Dover. Vicky, did you want to start?
Sure, I'll start. Sorry, my video, my computer crashed, and so I'm using my phone, but we are hopefully going to finalize our budgets today. We have a budget meeting this afternoon. Our budget is up in the 7 to 8% range, which is not great, but there's a lot of pressure, a lot of purchasing of equipment, and everything's going through the roof in terms of costs of trucks and that kind of thing, and wages as well. We have a new police chief. We are very proud to have promoted Sergeant Michael Arbogast to chief, and he took over in mid-December. So that's a transition we just went through, and had a nice retirement party for 3 long-term employees. We got some good news on the well at the Dovertown Common. The testing showed no contamination in a 4-hour test, and now we have an RFP for a very expensive 36-hour constant discharge test with a geophysicist and all kinds of ists. So we should have that. We'll probably do this in March, I would guess, at this point. That's it for me. Eric, I know.
All right. Yeah. So I think I said in November that we were kind of winding down on Horace Hill. Turns out that due to the warmer weather, we were able to get those guys, those guys were able to stay in there for quite a lot longer. I think last Friday was their last day in the woods. So they squeaked out, almost an extra 2 months worth of work, which is just great news. They were able to get a ton done. you know, there's obviously a little bit more to do in the spring. They're going to finish the boardwalk and get the access trail buttoned up, and then there's some additional work on the climbing trail in the back of the property. But everybody I've talked to has been out there is very, very excited about the prospect of this property being completed and having this as an asset for the town. So we're very excited about that. We presented our budget to the select board as well. We at a public meeting, separate from the budget meetings. No real big jumps. We removed some things from our budget that have been on there for a while that aren't really relevant anymore. So with that, we're you know, once we get things finalized today by the board and have a better idea of the final numbers for wages and things like that, we'll have that finalized and have that in our report ready to go into the town report here very shortly. We're in the process of reviewing our programs and seeing, you know, we did elevate the amount of money for some of the programs that are more popularly used, because that's always kind of been the intention, is that once we saw the usage and people knew to come and utilize those programs, that we would be elevating the amount of money that we allocated to those programs. So we're happy to see that they are getting that usage and that we're, you know, going to bump those numbers up a little bit. We're also reviewing, you know, our potential 2024 rec projects through this office and through the you know, the Trails and Recreation Committee, and just kind of following that Weston and Sampson plan to see what it is that's next for us after we get that initial phase 1 of Horse Hill wrapped up. So, you know, if you have ideas or know of, you know, people or organization who have ideas that align with that Weston and Sampson plan, you know, make sure you send them the way of our office and that Trails and Recreation Committee. STR wise, we've completed you know, our individual round of meetings with the you know, registration organizations, and you know, lots of interesting pieces from all of them. I think, you know, we're compiling all that information to present to the boards and kind of figure out what our next steps are, but we're not too far off from you know, coming to a plan here and working on trying to get that implemented and make sure that everybody's involved and part of the conversation. And as far, unfortunately, the winner of our business plan competition, we just weren't able to secure that location with the 10-foot ceilings. We had a number of opportunities that we were working on, and just none of them we were able to get to the finish line to get it into a building here in Dover. It's just a tricky find with those tall ceilings. You know, I think that it's unfortunate. We definitely wanted to see that business start up, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So, you know, internally, we're talking about, you know, reestablishing that program and hopefully getting that back out there, because we definitely want to see those new businesses pop up. We have a number of new businesses popping up, you know, without the program, which is great to see, but just anything we can do to stimulate that growth and fill any of those gaps that we have in terms of service would be real great. So that's all I have for Dover. Does anybody have any questions for myself or Vicky? Good stuff.
I
Bill,
just want
you're
to
up.
add,
Oh.
I'm sorry that I totally forgot, and I don't know how I did forget this, because I spent many hours creating a VOREC grant for our Hoot Toot and Whistle Trail. And these, you know, it's a trail that already exists. It goes from the walking bridge on West Main Street out to Mountain Mills. And that would be some major upgrades. So we're hoping that we will get that grant. It's about a $380,000 project. So we'll hear in February if we get funded for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Gretchen. Bill, you're up.
Let's see. Well, interesting start. Talk about bookend seasons. I couldn't tell if it was December or April. A lot of days. But the snow, we had a good opening December 9th. It's been a nice run. Actually, we've had pretty nice snow. As long as you dodged poncho weather. We had a good run. Part of that in there, we held a local craft fair for our members, which is really nice. We had about 12.5 local vendors and artisans come in and set up booths, which was very well received. We hope to do that again. It's a nice way to engage and get some exposure for local businesses. And we're at 400 members, so we've reached kind of an important threshold for us. It's our comfortable carrying number, but we continue to see a lot of interest, new members joining, particularly young families, which is kind of exciting to see because we see the multi-generational interest in skiing and ski culture healthy and alive. And looking ahead, finally Monday, February 5th will be our second annual community ski day. We'll start to get information out on that, get people registered. Very successful last year, it was a lot of fun, and looking forward to doing that again.
Any questions
Any
for?
questions?
All right. Brian, you have the floor.
Eric, I'm glad the warm weather worked out for your project. Just like Bill, we've been battling the weather here. You know that we had a pretty good rain event on the 22nd. It was, I don't know what day it was, a couple of weeks ago on Monday. We were able to rebuild the whole mountain prior to Christmas, and you know we took in some more kind of rough weather over Christmas, but you know we did notice that the demand was there to go skiing once the weather turned around for us. It is snowing outside my window right now, which is very promising. It's very good to see the white coming back. We had a decent Christmas, and we had a torchlight parade and fireworks on the 31st. We had, you know, big band over to Snow Barn, and you know, had really good participation from our guests, and you know, our employees were fully staffed. They're happy. Our guests seem happy. They seem to understand the weather that we've been facing, and you know, we still have a long road ahead of us for the season, and you know, we're very optimistic about, you know, where it's going to go from here. The weather forecast, we got a looks like a really good storm coming in on Saturday and Sunday, which could really help us out. And yeah, optimistic about the rest of the season. MLK is only, you know, a week and a half away, so you'll see the town ramp up again for that. So we're getting ready, running snowmaking, and yeah, hoping for some cold weather. That's all I got.
Awesome. Any questions for Brian? Thanks, Brian. Just as a note, I didn't say I wanted the warm weather. I just said that we took advantage of it. Okay. All right. Perfect.
I got stuck. I took advantage of it. My convertible was still sitting outside.
Uh-oh.
I had a challenge to clean the garage and get it away to the next 48 hours.
Christine. Oh, no, sorry. We don't have a representative here from the BDCC, so we will go ahead and skip that for this morning. So yes, Christine, you're up.
Good morning, everybody. So yep, we made it through another Christmas week here at the Moover. This is the first year in 2 or 3 years that both locations in Wilmington and Rockingham have been pretty much fully staffed. So we actually went into the week looking at each other kind of like we're forgetting something, but it was kind of nice. As Brian and Bill have already mentioned, it was definitely a challenging week with weather for all of our services up in the mountains. So there was a couple of days that we didn't have full parking lot buses going, but for the most part, it was actually quite consistent and busier than I thought it was going to be. So it was kind of nice to see. We don't have direct ridership numbers yet. We'll have that next week because it takes about a week to tabulate all that stuff and get that data. So at the next meeting, I'll be able to report where we landed in the history of the services as far as, you know, best winter, worst winter. It certainly wasn't the best Christmas week, but I don't think it was the worst either. So it'll be interesting to see those numbers. The new drop zone at the mountain ran very smoothly. Brian will be happy to hear that. They were fully staffed, so we didn't really have any issues with, you know, occasionally a car would try to come the wrong way, but Mount Snow employees were right on it, so we didn't have to worry about that. The gate that we have up there has been working really well. A couple of glitches in the beginning of the week that we got figured out. So all in all, we're pretty happy with that. It seems to be running smoothly. The guests seems to be enjoying it. The cars seem to be moving easier. So we're not backing up as much. So it's kind of nice. So we are doing pretty good, you know, really just the kickoff. And just like Brian said, a week and a half, we got MLK, and then, you know, the next one is February week. So looking forward to some snow and some good skiing weather for all involved. But that's pretty much it for us. Does anybody have any questions?
Awesome. Thank you, Christine. And last but not least, Bethany at the chamber.
Thank you, Eric. So just a couple of things. We do have a legislative coffee chat on Monday, the 8th from 8 to 9:30 at the Village Roost. We'll have Laura Sibilia there, Tristan Roberts, and I'm going to say his name wrong, Nadir Hashim. So hopefully we get a good turnout. We're at 15 right now, but I'd love to see another 10 or 20 people show up. We also had our gala in early December. We had over 100 people and we gave out our annual awards. I think it was a really nice evening at the Farm Road Estate. It's hard to believe we're in 2024, but here we are. And now we're just prepping for 2024 events. This is our quiet time, so we're trying to gear up for another busy event season. As Gretchen mentioned, we got the GROW grant in partnership with Bytown Marketing. So Tim and I will be up in Rutland on the 11th to do the launch meeting with the rest of the recipients. And then we have a member mixer coming up at the end of the month. So just lots of preparations for another busy year. That's it. Any questions?
Okay.
Eric,
Yes.
this is Vicky. Is there any way that the group can discuss maybe changing the March 7th meeting, maybe to the 14th? That's town meeting week, and then we have organizational meeting on the 6th. So it's going to be a really busy town business week.
Definitely. How does everybody feel about that?
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we skipped February.
we
Oh,
skip
yeah.
February, we go to March, yeah.
Do you want to do 229? The week prior?
That works for me.
Yeah, we could do that if that works for everybody.
Leap day.
Yeah, that's right.
I can do, sorry guys, I gotta run, but I can do whatever. I'll just check in with Eric afterwards, but happy New Year, everyone. Sorry to jump off the call so fast.
Thanks, Bethany.
This sounds so lame, but I have a ski date that day.
No, but I think,
At the Hermitage Club.
yeah.
The 29th? What?
Yeah. Okay. So do we?
I mean, I can be here for an hour. Yes, that's fine.
Yeah, I think actually, Gretchen, the Bytown meeting fell on that day last year too. I think it's not too bad because.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna move to the 29th.
Yeah, as long as everybody's good. I mean, especially if we keep it as proficient as we did today, we'll be right through it, right?
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for bringing that up, Vicky.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next meeting then will be Thursday, February 29th. So if you have anything you'd like to see on the agenda, please get that to me. In advance. It would be the Thursday before. So just make sure you get that. I'll try to send a reminder email out to the group for any agenda items that you want to talk about. Okay. Other than that, thank you everybody for being here. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Heidi, second was that Bill's second?
Bill,
Yep.
yep.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you
Bye-bye.
February 29th.